Yo, what is up, guys? We are back with another episode of All the Mods 10, and today we are going to get into extreme reactors. I was going to try to do it in the past episode, but I decided to make it its own episode just for the simple fact of how much there's actually to do when it comes to extreme reactors. But once we complete extreme reactors, the last thing we'll have to do is the eternal starlight, and then we'll be done with all of the side quests, and it'll just be this main circle. So we're going to get straight into it. And the first thing we need to do is we need to make 16 graphite. Graphite, which we have a bunch of graphite essence. So that's easy. We also are going to want to make reactor casings, which are like this. And then we want reactor glass, which is like this. And then reactor controller, we can make that. We'll make these fuel assembly rods. Is that what those called? Control rods. Reactor fuel rod. Make those. And we can make the power tap and the inports, outports. And then what we can do is toss all these in here. Like so, and then we can just start crafting. So we needed 16 of these. We're just gonna make 100 just because we can. Put a stack in our inventory, and now that's done. And now we are gonna make, to build a reactor, you'll need to start by making reactor casings. These make up the frame and walls of a reactor, although the walls can be replaced by reactor glass if you'd like to see inside of your reactor. For future references, when a part says basic, that means that it can only be used with other basic parts. The basic parts can also only be used to build smaller reactors, as it has a certain size limit. Keep that in mind. So they want four reactor casings and 1 reactor glass. So if we go at extreme, so they want 4 casings, done. And they want 1 glass, done. So that is complete. And then now they want a reactor control rod and a reactor base, or they want one of the control rod, which is this, done. And then they want one of these also, which is done. And then they want the reactor controller, so we can make one of those. We have everything to make the controller. I don't know why I only made one of those. That's so weird. I don't know why it's being weird. Okay, reactor controller. There we go. And then we need to make one of each of these, the output and input, just like so. And now that is done. And now our first reactor. So for our first reactor, let's just get these put into place. So for the first reactor, we are going to do a 3x3x3. So we're gonna need 21 reactor casings. So we have 8. So let's just make 21. Like so. Toss those back in there. And then we need 1 reactor controller, 2 solid access ports. So we need 1 more. Like so. And then we need 1 of each of everything else. So that is done. So we have created that. Let's go to sleep real quick, as it's giving us the most random stuff for completing these quests. One thing that I am unsure of is if these are explosive. I would assume that they're explosive because they use uranium, but I'm not 100% sure. So now we do need to make uranium, but we can build this small reactor. We can always break it down later. So we'll build this off to the side. So the reactor is going to be a 3 by 3 by 3. So we'll have 3 by 3 by 3, which the center will be hollow, I'm assuming, like that. And then what we can do is we will need to make a energy power tap. Put that right there. We're going to want a import and a export. Let's be fine right here for right now. I know it's kind of in the way. And that'll give us 3 more like that. We also need our controller to go in there like that. And then the last but not least, we need to put these in, which I am expecting it to be like this maybe, or the reverse way. So the controller is active. Nice. It is off, but it is active. We have built our first extreme reactor. What do you have for me? Nothing I need. Please leave me alone. All right. So now that we have our first extreme reactor, we need to fuel it with, so the easiest way to do this, use something like storage store or even just a chest with an item pipe connected to the top, like the image shown below. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to get wireless. We're going to go wireless. Always gotta go wireless. So grab the 2 of those. We are going to need our memory card. We also are going to need our wireless kit. We're going to need our wrench. And then we are going to want a flex accessor. We are also going to want cables. We will just go with red because it's extreme. It's taking these so long to craft. We can go down here. 1 more. We can, I don't know, do we have any more channels on here? I don't believe we do. But I know we have more channels right here. I just can't connect it to there. Do we have more channels on here? Oh yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. So, are those done yet? Those still aren't done. Cancel it. Request to, I don't know why it's being weird. Yeah, that was just, it's like a glitch in the system sometimes. Wireless. So grab these 2. We can put that one right there. Grab that. Take our memory card. Grab these 6 channels. And then we can bring this over to our reactor area. We'll pop it down in the back right here. Not the memory card. Messed it up. What? I swear I just put this one down to link. It says that this one's connected there. This one's connected there. Now I'm confused. Ah, so this is connected to 2, which it can't be. Wait, no, now this says this is connected. So that's connected there. Hopefully it didn't shut off everything else. Let's double check that real quick, just because it's gonna bother me. I hate when these things, so that one's connected there. That one's connected at the bottom. So now I have to go to my area, my blue area, and see if it's disconnected, which it has. So I need to reconnect that one. I don't know what happened right there, but it's frustrating. So now this one should be connected to the blue. Okay, let's just get another wireless crafter. I don't know how our numbers are getting mixed up. We can take it like that. And come over here. Connect it like that. Now that should be connected and should have 0 issues. And so now we'll need to grab one of these. Like this, we need our PQP tunnel. Like that. Take a dense cable, like so. Take our memory card. Don't think that's right. It might be. Unlinked. It's unlinked. It's not right. All this just got messed up. It is okay. So we connected it to the black cables. Oh, wait. I put it on a different, put it on this block. Right? No. Put it on. These are all online. Interesting. So put it on the black one, which is fine. I can grab some channels off of this. It's like this one only has 2. Go home. And then we can place that right there. This is the output side, so now we can bring this around. Or wrench, take that off. Okay. And so now we need this to come all the way up right here, like so. We also want this one. This is gonna get torn down, so I'm not too worried about it, because this is not a big reactor. And then we need one of these to be import, one of these to be output. So we need export and import bus. So we need a export, import, and acceleration import. Which actually, I think we only want to export right now. Acceleration. And then we want a crafting card as well. Crafting, like that. So we put those in there, put that in there, and then take the uranium, put that in there. Now this should just be filling full of uranium with no issue. Inlet mode. Go into outlet. I'm gonna set the out. This one's set to in, but nothing is coming in. Uranium. Device is online. Uranium. Redo. This should be full. Maybe this setup won't work, which is fine, because we can do this a different way. We can have this be a barrel or a drawer. Just take a drawer, simple drawer. Crafting card and uranium, like so. Put that in there, and then put that in there, and then we need to lock this. Like so. So now that's gonna always have uranium in there. And then now we just need pipes. So we're actually gonna use the logistical. logistical transporters, because this will allow for us to not have to reset this all the time. Have that pull, so now that should be full. That is 100% full. Now we need to export. Before we even turn that on, we need to be able to export the fluidizer. So let's go to sleep real quick. We'll toss everything away for right now. Grab it as need be. Need to set up the 24-hour day. Now we have 2K going in here. Will always be on. Okay. And then now, so the fluidizer. So we made our reactor. So now we need to make the fluidizer. Which takes fluidizer casings, fluidizer glass, fluidizer output, fluidizer power port, and injectors, fluid injector, solid, fluid, and then I don't know. Okay, so we'll need this. So we can set this up real quick, which we might want to flip-flop sides on that, which is not a big deal. So let's read into this real quick. So now that we are collecting some waste from our reactor, part of progress requires you to fluidize some of the ingots you get. You know what this means. We need to fluidize. So the main component in the fluidizer controller, once built, you can right-click on this to open up the interface here. You can turn it on and off, see what's inside the current power level. So at the fluidizer, so dealing with waste. When the reactor burns up fuel, it creates waste or a reactant that you also want to extract. That is the other solid access port is for. Okay, so it's going to produce a solid access. So we should be able to, we're just going to do it exactly the same way that we did that one over there, but with a import bus, logical cable, drawer, like so, and acceleration cards like this. So what we're gonna do is we'll place this down, this on top of it, have this come right here, have that pull out. Put those cards in, and then when we turn this on, see like that, then we can also just put a power tap in. So we need a, what is this? Pull energy from the network. Need an external cable, so an energy acceptor, I believe. The energy acceptor allows for you to, energy acceptor comes to different blah, blah, blah. This allows you to make more setups more compact. Energy acceptors can be swapped between normal, flat, and crafting grid. Does it say what? The ratio, the speed conversion entirely. So like I want to say we can just, we should be able to slap one of those on and then just feed it some pipes. I say that, but that craft would not work. So now that this is on, it's not pulling out. So what we can do is we can make this just like this, and then get some universal mechanism. Do we have any in here? No. Mechanism, ultimate universal, that right there, and then have that pull out, and that should be going into our system. Yeah. And the waste, so we should have waste now. Is it called waste? What is this called? Cyanite. Cyanite. We're not getting any. does it need to eject the waste? At extreme reactors, so we don't have anything from there yet. This is not working either. So if we take a accessor block, place that right there, that should be working. And that should be drawing out the power in here. It is. Okay, so, so we have barely any waste in there. But if done right, this should automatically, so it's producing how much waste? So it has 74 millibuckets of waste. So this is nowhere near big enough to actually do what we need it to do. So while we're letting that run, we can get into building this next part. So let's, might as well just create that. And then create that. And create this. Boom. Okay, so fluidizer, have that. Let's put these all in here. Sure, that's fine right there. All right, and then so now what we need to do is we need the fluidizer controller. So fluidizer controller, we need, okay, it doesn't know how to make a bucket, I guess. Okay, so fluidizer controller. We got one of those. Nice. Then we need 4 fluidizer casings, 1 fluidizer glass. So fluidizer casings, 4. Okay, so we need to have, so what, I'm gonna tell you what, so we're gonna do this because we can. So we can come down here and then we can take our uranium essence, which is nowhere to be found. Uranium, grab me a stack, put that in there. Don't know why that's not pulling it. And because we don't need coal anymore, we can double this up. Like so. And when we go home, go back over here, we should have no issue crafting the rest of everything that we need. At extreme. So now we need to make the, we need the 4 of these. Thank you. We need the 1 fluidizer glass. Thank you. And then we need 1 fluidizer output, 1 power fluidizer, so fluidizer output. So we craft that. No, still like this. Yeah. So now we need the fluidized output port like that. So now we got 1 and 1. So now this one's done. Now we need the operational fluidizer, solid and liquid. So fluid injector next. And then we need the solid injector. Boom, like that. And now this is created. And now we need to make a reaction fuel injection port reinforced, which we need to make these, which is can do, no issue. So reinforced, make one of those. Thank you. All right. So now that we have all that, we can, the turbine. Instead of building the smallest turbine at this point, it's better to build a turbine based off the design of your reactor for starters, blah, blah, blah. So we don't, do we really need the turbine? Processing our waste. So waste should have built up at least a little bit. Not even a full bucket yet. Can we speed this up? Will it make it go boom? Can't speed it up because it'd probably go boom. So we are still not even at a full bucket yet. We might just have to build a giant reactor, but I was hoping to build like the next stage reactor so that I didn't waste my time building a basic big reactor. I could build like the more dense one, save myself some time, but it's not looking like it's going to go that way. Because I mean, reprocessor controller. So I need to get waste before I make anything. Do I even have any fluid? So we need to get this, which is going this way. So what fluid do you get? How do you, by using the fluidizer, we can combine plutonium and yellorium to make iridium. So yellorium. Oh, reactant. That's a reactant. Yellorium. Plutonium. How do you get yellorium? Yellorium block. And a fluidizer. Oh, okay. Ah, okay. So we do need to build this fluidizer. So let's build a fluidizer. So how do you build the fluidizer? To a fluid or combining two fluids into a solid, this all depends on the type of injectors you use on the multi-block. For example, if you want to convert plutonium into a fluid, you can use one solid injector. If you want to combine the two solids together into something, you'll need to build the multi-block with two solid injectors. If you want to combine two fluids, you'll use two fluid injectors. So I need to make insaniate, and that is, we need this. Rosenite is, how do you craft rosenite? We're putting, okay, so what is rosenite? Nanite, plutonium, so rosenite. Still doesn't tell me how to craft it. I love this. Extreme reactors. So I believe, so you get rosenite by combining these two. Combining these two, Viridium. You take Viridium, put it through a extreme reactor, you get Viridium reactant. Okay. So what to make the rosenite? Viridium through reactor creates rosenite. So we need to make Viridium. And to make Viridium, you have to make Yellorium and Plutonium and then you have to combine the two to make, so I need 3 of these reactors. So I'm just gonna set these up right here. So basically, a fluidizer. So the fluidizer, is it a 3x3? I want to say it's a 3x3. So we need 27 of these. So what we need to do is we can remove this. All right. So we need a solid injector. We need our fluidizer power port. We need our fluidized controller. And then we need our fluidized output port. And that should be everything that we need. So this one's all set up. So now what we can do is we can take another, so let's take cables, need power too, and logistics. And we're gonna need our memory card. And we're gonna need P2P, like so. We're going to want accessor, and we also are going to want barrels or drawers, like so. And then, so what we're going to want to do, we also going to want cables, some dense cables. All right, so we're going to do this, P2P, dense cable. We're going to want to load this P2P with the same one. 4 EFE, 4 FEF, okay. And then what we can do is we can bring this here with a cable like this, put a exporter, do we have acceleration cards? Acceleration cards, so we need a exporter, acceleration cards, and a crafting card. We have crafting cards, we have a crafting card, oh, that's an induction card. So we need crafting cards. Okay, and then Yellorium is Yellorium block, which is created just like this. Yeah. And then so Yellorium block. Yep. Just like that. Put the Yellorium in there. Take the Yellorium block, put that in there. Put the crafting card in there. And then put that right here. It is going to fill up with 2,000. Probably not necessary, but that's all right. We want a logistical transporter to put that in there. So we need our wrench to pull those out. And over here, we want a, what is our fluid? Mechanical or mechanism pipe. So there's these ones right here. Let's take our fluid out. We will put it in a tank. Tank like so. Where's our tanks? This one's empty. We'll have it go into our tank right there. Have it pull that out. I'm just gonna destroy this for right now because we are going to run this over like so. Which this one can come out, and then we need our accessor to be right there with one of these cables on it like that, pulling. And so this should have power in that, so let's turn that on. In there, and then we need a import bus like so on a smart cable import bus, and then we can throw some acceleration cards in there. So now that this is full, show recipes. So we have solid input, Eulorium block plus 1000 Fe will generate 9000 Eulorium. But this is moving so slow. We have an export, right? We're lagging. Maybe, or you just can't edit it. What do we need to do with this? By using a fluidizer, you can combine plutonium and Eulorium to make iridium. When you use the fuel reactor, iridium process will resonate as a reactor. We need this. To iridium as a fuel, you need to make fuel injector ports for your reactor. Note, you might need to empty out of the fuel currently in your reactor or make a new reactor for this purpose. Okay, what's a reactor fuel injection port? So that's, yeah, we'll probably make a whole new reactor because it still hasn't made any waste yet, I don't think. We don't need this or this or this or this. Put that card back. So this is on, but is it processing? So you can see that this is on and going. Wait, does this need a fuel rod? Did I forget something in? No, because it built. Okay. So there's a book, which is nice. Reactor. The beginning. Okay, yes. Yep, 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 yep. Okay, fluidizer. How to build. Holy. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 4. A 5 by 4. All right, so we are going to tear this down and just make this gigantic. So we'll keep that right there. Keep that right there, and then we'll just destroy this. We'll make that the edge of it. So we just need a bunch of these fluidizer blocks at extreme. So we want a 5 by 4. So we're going to want 5 times 4 times. And that's 4 layers. Which is how many? I don't know if that'll be enough. But so we're going to want a 5 long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what we were looking at, Eulorium, fluidizer, give me the book. So it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 by 5 all the way around. 5, 5. That's 5 by 5. That looks way bigger than 5 by 5. 1, 4 high. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. We want that one like that. And so what we can do is we can take our thing, put that right there, and then take our power port and our solid injector, fluid to output like that, and then throw these. Like that, and then we can put our power right here, like so. Bring that up one, do that, and then do that. Take that out. And we can take our tank and have that right there. Have its items. Where's our fluid transporter? It's right here. So fluid, get it pulled out. And then take our boom. That pulled out like that. And then have our power and boom, boom, boom. I think that's everything that we actually needed connected, but we need to connect these like so. So we can take our small cable, because that is what's right there. Take our import. No. Import. Put acceleration cards in like that. And I'll turn this on. There we go. So now we have Eulorium being made. So now we have a bunch of Eulorium. So that's nice. Okay, so we have Eulorium, plutonium. So that's a block. How do you get this block? putting water and cyanide and get plutonium cone block. How do you get this B? Okay, so I have this processing up. So that's going. Has this made... Well, I don't really need to change the percentage insertion because we're 100% full. Which we could change the speed. So we're going to have to build a bigger reactor. What does the book say to build? Okay, book's not opening. There we go. The reactor. Inner workings. The turbine, the reprocessor, the energizer, the fluidizer, the reactor. Moderators. Radiation moderator is a block or fluid that can be placed inside the reactor to absorb part of radiation emitted by the fuel and move heat away from the fuel rods. A particular moderator could convert radiation to heat more or less efficiently than another one, or could absorb more radiation than others, or it could conduct that heat the same way, or it could be dirty, cheap, but extremely efficient at all. Extreme reactors register by default a score of vanilla modded blocks fluids as moderators. Other mods or mod packs can add their own moderators, modify, or remove the default ones. Usually a rare block slash fluid or one particular expensive to craft has better stats than the common or cheap one. Okay, that doesn't really tell me. Inner workings. Your first reactor. So how big of a reactor can we build? Okay, so we figured out the reactor. I was just basically not paying attention. I built it 6 high, not 7 high, and it has to be a 7 high. So like that's where I messed up. Annoying, but easy fix. Went and fixed it. Now we have this. So now what we need to do is we need to bring our cables over, which we'll just do it right here along this white block. Like this, and we'll need our cables. Let's grab our dense cable. Okay, and then we can bring this, so we actually need to go under. So I don't know what this is actually used for. Reprocessor collector. I don't know if it puts anything out or not, but if it does, we will be right there. This is a fluid injector, so this is where the water needs to go in. So I want to say, so our best, so if we do interface, so like this, we can make it one of these, and then we take some of these, so we can prop this up like that, interface it, put water like so, and then take our logistic, nope, that's items. We need mechanism. I always forget that we do need our universal cable. Not pressurized tube. Pipes, we need our elite mechanical pipe because that'll take the fluid out. We do need our wrench. Cool. So that'll be filling this up with water. That's filled with water. We do need to get power to the top. Wait, no, power to the side, back side, that side that we're on. So what we can do is we can just bring this up like this, and then take a accessor. Like so. Put that on the face like that. Take that and then have that pulling power like so. Grab an anchor just to tidy things up. Actually, we don't even need to grab an anchor. We can just have that come off like that. And then we need to get a cable all the way up here to the top. With a interface, we can do an interface again. So what we should be able to do is take this interface, place this like that. I don't know if that's one block or not. Take our ultimate logistics transporter, put it like this, configure that to pull, and then this needs to pull in the cyanite like that. So now this is getting the cyanite in there, and that should be processing that. And last but not least, we need to export it. And so then we'll just do another interface like so with we'll do an interface, like we'll bring this around right here. We'll interface it, and then a logistical transporter. We'll have that pulling out. So, hey, this should be rocking now. So now what I gotta do is turn this on. And it should be sending the plutonium. At extreme. Yep, we got the plutonium coming in. So now we just need to take the plutonium, send this through a fluidizer so we need 2 inputs. So we need uranium and plutonium to make iridium. And once we have, actually no, oh, you can just do it like that to make iridium. You don't need, I thought you could use plutonium and, oh, you could use plutonium and iridium to do that. So we already have it set up. So we might as well just build another reactor or another fluidizer. Probably need 2 more, to be honest. Place is getting a little out of hand, but so let's get the fluidizer stuff. We can just put the pipes and stuff in our bag and go to extreme reactors. So now we need fluidizer casings. So let's make 50 more of the fluidizer casings. We need a fluidizer output port. We need a fluidizer solid injector. And then, because it is, so we'll make the yellorium separate. Okay. And then we need a, where's that fluidizer power port? We need a fluidizer controller. Fluidizer things. Make 30 more, because I feel like we're just going to need them. Where's the controller at? Fluidizer injector. Fluidizer controller, thank you. No, that's all we need, okay. So, I'm just probably, I don't know if so I might have to, so what I'd have to do is I'd have to put a layer like this. So I'll do my builder's gadgets. I have to put a layer like that. And I could just outline this layer. And he went, what, 4 up? 3. So now we need, so all we're going to do is we're just going to do the same exact thing. We're going to take our fluidizer controller, our power right here. And then we are going to have our in and out on the same side, because I would love to place it exactly the same. I won't be able to because I will need to do another chest, or so I will need another drawer, tank drawer, tank. So tank drawer, and then I will need my pipes. Alright. So on this one, this needs a logistical transporter. This one needs a mechanical transporter. This one needs a pull out. Need to pull in, and then those just need to be connected at the bottom, and then this can just be connected up like that. And then now, so I need to get my regular cables, and I need to bring this up like so. And then I need my import and export. Import, export, acceleration cards. And so import, export, import. So export plutonium. We can do plutonium blocks, right? That'll be our best bet. So do that. Put that in there, and then so do the plutonium block. The speed, so we need a crafting card in there. Filling up, and then this just needs acceleration cards. That should be good to go. So now we should have plutonium being created. We just have to do that one more time with fluid imports, I believe. So now that we have, so we got at extreme. So now we have 126 and 10k yellorium. So we're chilling on the yellorium. Let's look at essence real quick. Let's look at our uranium. Oh yeah, we're chilling. So now we need to make iridium, which is yellorium and plutonium in a fluidizer. So let's do this one more time. Like so. And so what we can do, so we are going to need extreme reactors. Oh, ooh, fluidizers. So we're gonna need a controller. We're gonna need about yay many of those. We're gonna need one of those. We need the fluid injectors. We need 2 fluid injectors. And then we need a fluid export ejector. And we need our controller power. And then these. So now we can told you we're gonna need a lot of these. And then do this. And so we're gonna have both of our, so we're just gonna have our controller. Actually, we'll have both of these right here just because it'll make the most sense. And then we will just have our out port right here on the side, that right there. So we can take our power cables, have it be powered like that. And we need 3 tanks. Actually, no, we need a tank. Actually, we don't need a tank. We need, what are those interfaces? We need 3 of these. And so what we need to do is we need fluid, ultimate logistics. No, we need these pipes. We need 2 right there and 1 right there. We need interfaces on all 3 of these. Basically, so we need to have this one be plutonium, this one be yellorium, reactors, yellorium, and then we need this one just shaken. So this one is going to be set to full. Is this not a fluid? Not the solid. I need my fluid. Thank you. And I need this to also pull out like that. And then I just need to connect these with a cable, which hopefully there is enough channels right here to do so. Got 1 more right there. Okay, that's only using 5. So now this really should just be good to turn on. And now we should be able to look at that. We have Viridium being created. So now that we need to pick up our, we have a plutonium ingot, there we go. So this takes rosenite. So we need to make rosenite. And you get rosenite by, so you put, so rosenite, so you need to make rosenite, which is, okay, block, which is plutonium and cyanide liquid. Okay. I don't need power right now, so I don't think I have to go out this route. So rosenite. When you used as fuel in a reactor, Viridium produces rosenite as a reactant. We need this. The Viridium as a fuel, you'll need to make fuel injector ports for your reactor. So our reactor is right here. So let's shut this down. dump waste. Okay. And so what we need to do is we need the reactor fuel injection port. And so we have an injection port. So this will create rosenite fluid. Now that you have rosenite, you can mix it with betonites to create insanite. Bentonite can be found in the nether. Okay, so like that's fine. Yep, that's cool. So rosenite. So my issue is I'm scared to put, if I just put this right here. So I just need another one of those. So cut another one of those. That could be the output, and this could be the import. And so for this, we just want to do a interface. We need two interfaces. So what we can do is we can take a cable like this, and then put this interface here, and then have a ultimate mechanical pipe. Take this out like that, and then pull, and have this be iridium. And then over here, we can have a interface, which I need a anchor. Anchor like that, so that doesn't mess up. With a interface and having the fluid come out like there. And then, so now this should, okay, it's not starting. So I'm wondering if we need to take this off. Guessing selected. This needs to be taken out and filled with that. And this needs to be taken out and filled with that. Is that the issue? Outlet mode. That's inlet mode. What's the issue with this? Okay, grab the book. Oh, that's actually so much better. The energizer, how to build. I don't really want the energizer. The reactor, reactants. Finally got it. Okay, so I just had to I had to make it a reinforced reactor, which I thought that was the case, but like I've never really played with this mod that much, so we had to do that. Now we're creating the rosinette right here. We have if I can think, we have 15 buckets of that. So now that we have that, to make these ingots, we'll have to make those ingots, but we also need to make the insanite ingots, which is the however you pronounce that, which I think there's a seed for these. Let's go ahead and check. And not a seed, but it looks like that pentachine ore, which is weird that you can't farm this. 16 for 1 Insania ingot, and then you also need to get the Night ingot, which is the all these different ores. Okay. So we're gonna let that process. So we need to get the bentonite, but we also need to make this block, which to make this block, we need to make one of those. We can do that. But we need to make this ore with resonite, and to make this ore, you need ludicrite with this, and to make this, you need cyanite and plutonium, and to get this, it is magnemite and a fluidizer, which, where do you get magnemite from? You can only get this from a bee. Oh, excuse me. You get magnemite like this. Radicolite, ludicrite, plutonium. We'll create ludicrite. So the plutonium will create the ludicrite, and then the ludicrite with magnetonite will make the radiculite. Is there another way to make the radiculite? Oh, okay. The magentonite, you get this. How do you get the magentonite? Probably tells us somewhere in the process. So ludicrite. So combining radiculite ingots with resonite in a process will create ingot. Okay, so how do you get ludicrite? Okay, how do you get nanite? But it doesn't tell you how to get. I'm guessing you need to mix two things together to get, so to get this ingot, it's a byproduct of something. So we go at extreme reactors, so we need magentonite, which you get by pumping plutonium into as a reactant. There we go. And we're creating that in one of these. Guessing it's this one. Yeah, because that's full. Is this pushing it out? I don't know if this is pushing it out. Yeah, so it is pushing out the beryllium. Okay. Can you do cyanite blocks? You take cyanite and you turn it into a block. So cyanite block. Can you toss this in a fluidizer? That makes, okay, so that'll make that. And put that in there. Okay. So what we need to do now is we need to make our, so let's go line. We need to make our ludicrite, which is plutonium and cyanite. To make cyanite, you need another one of these. You need a fluidizer. So let's make a controller. Let's make 300 of these because we're gonna need a shit ton of them. We need a solid import injector. We need a fluid output, and we need a power. So create that. And we need a bunch of these in our building gadget. Building gadget. Most they got tossed in here. Yep. All right. And then back now. It's been quite a while. I mean, it's taken me probably like 3.5 hours to get this all set up. And as you can see, a lot happened. So during the recording, you know, it got a little difficult trying to figure out exactly what I was supposed to be doing. It took me a while to figure it out. So just basis right here. So we have our reactor from Extreme Reactors. It was a basic, but we had to upgrade it to a reinforced so that we could pump fluid into it. And right now I have it pumping plutonium in, and it's giving out magentite. And that's just how that is running. And then we have just like a distillation tower right here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the unused fluidizer. I just built multiple at once because how long it was taking me to, like, every time I'd have to come back and make a new one. So like for instances, so this first one we have making yellorium fluid. The second one we have making plutonium fluid. This third one was making tritium, right? Is that how you, viridium? And this one is making cyanite. The reason for that is because we have these towers over here, which are reprocessors. So this one's taking cyanite, putting in water, creating plutonium. This one is not doing anything currently. This one is down here. This one right here is taking the plutonium with cyanite and turning it into the lutecrite. What's that said? Lutecrite. And then we're taking the lutecrite mixed with magentite, and that is giving us the radiculite. And then over here we take the radiculite and we process it with rosenite, and it makes us the all the ores that we need for the insanite. Whew. To make the insanite, we first need to make the block of netherrack with enite around it for an enite block, which we can do. And then for the insanite, we had to wrap that in insanite. Which you get the insanite by doing the 16 bentonite that you find in the nether in here with the rosenite, and it makes it into insanite, holy. And then it just goes around like that. And so the only thing I was doing while waiting was trying to make some bees. I made a few of them. So now we have completed the reactors, and it was a headache. It honestly took hours. Hopefully I can make the video look great, and I'm just gonna keep these running because I'm gonna need more eventually. So all I'm gonna do is toss the radiculite back in there, let that process up. And then so now if we take a look at all the mods, we have completed the extreme reactors, which I think just gave us another block of insanite, which it did. So if we can end up making the bee, which you have to have a enite bee breed onto a radiculite. Yeah, it's a lot. So if we get there, we get there. If we don't, we don't. The last thing we have to do is go to the external starlight, and then we will be done with all of the outer rings, and we'll just have these last few to do before we start crafting the altar, which take a lot of blocks, 28 unobtainium allthemodium alloy blocks, which we might get started soon, and the 17x netherite blocks, which is 729 blocks. Right now we have 155,000 nether stars. I don't know what that comes out to. We have our triple, we can check real quick. So we need 17. We can craft that. So it takes 111K, 111,000. We have 155. So we can at least make one all the mod star. And so that'll be awesome. We might try to automate it. I haven't decided yet. We'll see where we're at when we get there. Other than that, I hope you guys do enjoy this episode, and I will catch you in the next one. Before we go, let's do something crazy and just claim all real quick, because I know there was some stuff that we just haven't claimed yet. We got nickel seeds, solium seeds, some orbs, some random stuff that we can just toss all the way back into our inventory. Other than that, I'll catch you guys later. See ya.